was just an active red light defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Thank you very much, Ian Wright. I can take it from here. People deluded, I'm back again. Appreciative of all of you lot tuned in. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I hope everyone's having a progressive week in their personal and private lives. I hope you and your loved ones are healthy. As usual, appreciative of all the support that you lot give our platforms, people. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've turned the notifications on. Make sure you're commenting in during the live chat when this premieres or also after, because it's a engaging platform. It's a game where football's a game of opinions, and I love to hear yours. Don't forget to hit the like button, people. All of these things helps the YouTube algorithm. Now, there's plenty of things to talk about with Arsenal. At the time of making this vid, this Wednesday, tomorrow, live from 2:30, I'll be doing a watch-along for Arsenal versus Lyon. Obviously, we've got a couple of games to get fitness back into our players' legs as we move closer to the Premier League, resuming. And definitely, there's plenty of talking points. Unfortunately, Jesus is out for a couple of weeks or months. We don't know. It all probably depends on how the knee progresses. First thing is health. While he's a footballer, and he's got many years left of being a footballer, he's a son. He's going to be a granddad. He is a dad. He's a human being. He's going to need his knee for life. Or if he doesn't, it's going to make his life significantly, tougher, really. So we hope that he's on the mend. Obviously, if he's able to play football sooner rather than later, it'd be good. We're going to have to get on with it. There's no point crying. Let's look at the current talking points and things. As I said, smash the like button. No more need for waffling. Let's get straight into it, people. Now, like clockwork, you knew he was going to get linked with Tammy Abraham again. Not having the best of seasons at Roma. He had a decent campaign last year. It is what it is. Allegedly, people, this quotation says, let's just say he's not happy. Abraham leaves if Roma sell him, like everybody. Last year, pardon me, I think Google Translate's done us dirty there. But last year they paid 45 million for him. It's right that he expects. If they bring in 50 million, Roma will sell him. Why does Roma have to give him away? As they don't, let's be honest, it's a relationship of convenience. Roma gave him a platform to play games beyond obviously playing in the top 5 league, playing in a wonderful country like Italy and working with Jose. He gets a platform to express his talents that he didn't have at Chelsea. They get someone that can help them in the short, medium, and potentially long term. Either way, they're going to make a handsome profit. Chelsea have a buyback clause. I don't think his season so far has been that good, and I don't think they'll be looking to invoke that. So yeah, people, we've been linked with Tammy Abraham, whether this means anything or not, people. Apparently, the same opinion of this Donny Ferrio for Coley. Abraham was overrated last year, having scored 27 goals, but including those in the conference. I've always considered a good player with technical gaps. This year, I haven't seen Tammy Abraham make a stop. Jose has some fault, as it is, but he's been linked with Roma as well. Aston Villa as well as Arsenal, like clockwork. It'll be Vlahovic tomorrow. Moving away from that, World Cup ace sounds like he isn't expecting January move to Arsenal. Obviously, Arteta, this is claimed Arteta is keen. This is in relation to Carlos Soler, who him and, his Spanish teammates have been dumped out of the World Cup. Congratulations to Morocco and Hakim Ziyech and Hakimi, man, especially Hakimi. Lovely penalty. Right back's the most important. He's just joined PSG, innit? And it looks like they're sourcing more technical players. Him, Fabian Ruiz, Vitaya. It is what it is. I would love this guy to sign for us, but it's a myth, really and truly. They only signed him in the summer for 18 million, 21 million euros. If they did want to sell him, then I'd like for Arsenal and Arteta to be at the front of the queue, because we could do a lot worse. But yeah, it is what it is, people. It was a very thoughtful decision, obviously, because it's not easy to leave your home. I had been there all my life. I wanted to leave, take a step towards a great club, a European top, try fight for titles, try to play as much as possible. And I'm very happy right now because I had a learning period there. But I think this last month has gone very well. I've played more. I've helped the team. So it doesn't sound like someone that's expecting to leave and join Arsenal in January, people, but you never know. Milinkovic-Savic. Now, I know a lot of you get excited. Lazio update on future plans for Milinkovic-Savic and Mick transfer links to Manchester United, Arsenal, and Juventus, people. The president, who hasn't been shy of talking about Milinkovic-Savic and the valuation he places on the 27-year-old Serbian international, apparently he told reporters, people, contracts are done when they expire. From a technical point of view, we have an interest in renewing him because he's a great player and a great man. I hope that the player will do the same. appointment on the agenda. What are we doing in the transfer market? Question mark. In life, everything that begins has an end, starting with life itself. Milinkovic-Savic is a player Lazio are banking on. He is an added value. So depending, that doesn't really say much, people, but that tells you kind of we're open to everything. I hope he stays. If not to stay, I hope he signs a new deal so we can make more money. So we'll have to see how that one's going. Allegedly, people, we're trying. Mikel Arteta reportedly confirmed to Arsenal supporter that the Gunners are in talks for £87 million rated attacker. Arteta reportedly told a Gunners fan that the club is trying to sign Ukrainian attacker Mudryk, who is valued at 87 million. You know, we're not going to pay that. We've been linked with him, Mikel Arteta, you know, along with Edu and other figureheads at Arsenal, were in LA/America to talk with Kroenke, a pre-planned trip before everybody heads to Dubai. Apparently, again, Arsenal fans are crazy. I mean, he said we're trying. We don't know the context. We don't know the truth. We don't know anything. But allegedly, an Arsenal fan met Arteta in LA who was sitting with Edu. The fan asked if they'll sign Mudryk, and Mikel smiled and said, we're trying. I hope it's true. You know, bring him to the carpet. But I don't know about any of that. Mudryk does everything he can, from interviews to social media antics, people. And the latest one, he shared a graphic valuating him at 40 million quid. And he's always liking things on Instagram. He can do that as much as he wants. Arteta and specifically Edu have to dot I's and cross T's and get medicals and contracts and legal binding documents signed. So I hope we sign Mudryk or a winger, a centre mid. I hope there's a resolution to up front. And if we could, a centre back, but probably, you know, not all going to be done in January. So we'll have to see. Arteta thinks journalist shares behind scenes Arsenal update on Mudryk. I mean, Ben Jacobs, he's probably paying a lot of his bills just talking about Mudryk. What specifically has he said? Because, I mean, banter aside, it's getting boring talking about Mudryk. Arteta feels that he can be developed into a more versatile player. At the moment, he's lightning quick. He's got a good eye for goal. He weighs in with assists. He makes the pitch as big as possible. He starts on the left-hand side and he cuts in. I think Arteta thinks that he can spend more time during games in central areas and even under select game management situations, switch sides as well. As he adds those strings to his bow, he could live up to his reputation as one of the best players in that position. So it's one to watch from Arsenal's point of view. And I mean, it makes sense. You know, we need to know his weaknesses, or Arteta does, to mold him into the next, to go up a level and mold him into the player he can be in the future. He's 21. He's, you know, everyone's an expert, but he's been on the scene about 18 months to the wider footballing community. There's a lot that the 21-year-old has to improve. Take the good and make it great and improve the weaknesses, and we should have a decent player. That's the project Arsenal are looking to do with these emerging talents, or talents at the early stages of their careers, or people like Odegaard or Jesus, potentially Zinchenko, that are kind of at different stages of their career at the midpoint, but there's still a lot more to give, and they're kind of discovering themselves as well. Nobody, beyond a couple exceptions, is the finished article. What you see is what you kind of get from Partey, from El Nene, to a degree, Xhaka, even though he's kind of been transformed this year. You get the point, really. So, yeah, that's in relation to Mudryk. Arsenal and Chelsea left with their mouths open after scouting €75 million winger. We've been linked with Pepe, you know, who can play up front as well as out wide. The last Pepe didn't work out. Maybe it could be second time lucky or something like that, people. He has a £75 million release clause. I'm not too sure if that's going to be a thing, people. Us, Chelsea, and a bunch of clubs have been linked with him for a while. So it all depends if there is legitimate interest from both London clubs or Juventus for the Brazilian people. Arsenal and Chelsea interest in Pepe has been reported by the Portuguese media for a while now, and with Juventus now joining the race, that could probably speed up the winger's departure from Porto. I don't know if that will mean anything within January. Mertesacker has been linked with a job within the German FA, our head of youth development. Couldn't begrudge him for doing that, really, but apparently the managing director, Oliver Berhoff, forgive me for mispronunciations, has left his job, and Mertesacker might potentially be a candidate. Couldn't begrudge him for leaving. You know, not that I want him to leave. You want the best people in the role, but if that advances your career, it is what it is. In relation to Joao Felix, people who I want at the carpet, probably not going to happen. Allegedly, we've tried before for him. Apparently, he sent a message. He said the way of playing with Portugal and then at the club is different. When the conditions are favourable, things go better. Things can go very favourable at the carpet. You've seen our pitch. You've seen what Arteta has did. You've seen Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and the rest of them. It's crazy. You see what Xhaka is doing, Rebirth. Come and join us, man. Come and join us. Although I don't think he will, but yeah, it is what it is. On his future, I'm completely focused on the World Cup. My future doesn't tell me anything about what's going to happen, nor does he want to. I need to be focused on now to play a great tournament. That's true. Leave that to your agent, George Mendes, who we've got good relations with now. Let's get it done. Apparently, the CEO of Atletico said Joao Felix has top level, but because of his relationship with Simeone and game time, we feel that makes sense to consider potential bids to sell him. I mean, they turned down Bayern Munich in the summer. Maybe things have changed in the months that have gone on, and there will be a bidding war. I think, there's untapped potential in him. He's a player with a lot of raw qualities that need to be improved, but he can play a bunch of positions. He can play off the left. Not quite a striker for me, but he could play there. Bro, he's lit, man. I can't lie. Could be at home behind the striker. I think he would pay. He would pay dividends, really, but it's going to cost an arm and a leg in terms of wages, agent fee, the fee that Atletico potentially want to recoup. But that's going on the offensive, in my opinion, from the Atletico chairman. Really, he's basically saying what's going on. I'd love for Joao to continue, but this is the current situation, people. Apparently, he wants to leave Atletico, people. His starting price is 130 million euros. The Portuguese wants a top club. He's been actually linked with Aston Villa, and apparently they could be close to getting him, allegedly. And to be a protagonist, you could be that at Arsenal. PSG are the only club to have open talks with George Mendes for a January transfer, so PSG would be the only ones getting him, really. It'd be good for him. Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, boy, he could play behind them or play with them. As you can see here, people, they want at least 130 million euros for Joao Felix. PSG are the first in line. His agent has talked to Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Bayern. And his agent's got his work cut out. He's probably got a bunch of other clients, but he's got to find Joao Felix another role, essentially. And he's got to find a job for Cristiano Ronaldo. So we'll have to see how this develops, people, really. Atletico already sets asking price for Joao Felix, and it's slightly gone up to 140 million here. He wants to leave. There's no going back. The club no longer makes an effort to hide something that was obvious after, obviously, him and Simeone not seeing eye to eye. I do think playing under Simeone can develop you, in terms of off the ball. You have an appreciation for the defensive arts of the game. And not that I think he's signing for Arsenal, but off the ball and pressing and all these things is what Mikel Arteta requires. So you have that. He needs to be in a team that lets him do what made him a footballer, being in the final third, playing with instinct, having creativity, and the rest of it. And he will get that at whatever club, people. Atletico has no intention of giving, I think it means him, away. The formula can vary depending on the needs. George Mendes' agent has been rolling up his sleeves for months to find a way out, and PSG's solution was the first that came decisively. The first real contacts for the transfer in January began at the beginning of October. If the French club wanted to move forward in the deal, due to good relations between Mendes and PSG's sporting director, Luis Campos, they'd be on pole. The rest, among which Chelsea stands out, are behind. Other teams that have also asked about the Portuguese are Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, leader of the Premier League, who will not be able to count on Gabriel Jesus for 3 months, and Bayern Munich. Another point to take into account is the aspirations of the player. Joao is very ambitious, and he will aspire to the top, to the best project, the most prestigious, where he can be the protagonist and grow to the maximum. And apparently there's a good relationship that exists between Mendes and Kaya Jarupkin, and that will result in some good operations for January, people. So we'll have to see. His relationship with Simeone allegedly is broken, people. His relationship with Simeone is icy. The player's not happy with the way the manager has dealt with him in recent months, and has asked his agent, to come up with an exit plan. Taking into account the club's dark moment in Europe and the treasury, this is what it says. Today, no one is indestructible. I believe I can't say that at Atletico, unless someone happy and less someone unhappy in the Metropolitan like Joao, and that could, him, Thomas Lemar, Rodrigo De Paul, they've all been linked with moves away as well. So it is what it is in that regard. Have we missed out anything, people? We've already covered that. He's the biggest bet the club has made this season. I think he has the highest level in the world, but because of his relationship with the coach, the minutes played, his motivation, the reasonable thing to do is to consider his departure if an offer comes in. Fair enough. A man said, if I had all the money in the world, I would sign France. I hear that, but it is what it is. And again, this is just further reiterating what I think we've already seen, people. they haven't got the best of relationships. So long story short, that's that. Again, big up Gabby Jesus. You know, he's by God's grace, he's successfully undergone surgery to his right knee and begins his rehab. We wish him a speedy recovery, people. And apparently he should return to play in 3 months. Now, Arsenal haven't put a timeline on it. They're not going to at this moment because on one, they don't know, and two, they could send fans into a frenzy with the knock-on effects and, oh, we need to sign someone. And ironically, we're at a decisive moment where we're approaching January. We've got to deal with December, but we're approaching January. And we all know there were several reasons as to why Arsenal didn't get top four last year. One of those was players, you know, what we did in January or didn't do in January. Different contexts, but you get it. So big up Gabby Jesus. We're all wishing you a speedy recovery. Come back sooner rather than later, but come back when you're right, man. Just get your head right. Focus on what you need to do. And then it is what it is, people. And again, the recovery will be dependent on the return will be dependent on the recovery of the 25-year-old striker. So we'll have to see what's going on in that regard. Again, this doctor is always on my timeline. Apparently, not that he's in the know specifically with Jesus's case, but I think this is a good rough estimate. More on Gabby Jesus's meniscus tear and partial tear of the ligament. Again, surgery very likely on his meniscus and timeline dependent on specifics. Again, that could best case scenario 4 to 6 weeks, worst case scenario 16 weeks, as you lot can see there. Again, come back when right. We're just gonna have to get on with it, people. What is this? There must be a reason why I've got this here. So yeah, he should. I think this is just reiterating what we already know, people. So yeah, he sent a message to Arsenal fans after undergoing surgery. Big him up, and he's vowed to come back stronger. And Granit Xhaka has given some words of encouragement as well. Again, Granit Xhaka apparently is flying straight to Dubai, people, to get on with things. And I mean, I respect it. You look at Tomiyasu, not to criticize Tomiyasu, he's clearly struggling psychologically with how he played in the last game for the in the World Cup for Japan, how they exited it. And on the best case of days, footballers don't get enough time to breathe, definitely this season. So I do think him, Partey, anyone participating in the World Cup needs that time to be with their family, to recharge mentally, obviously physically, and then sooner rather than later need to get on with it. Tomiyasu, who, in my opinion, got to use the World Cup to kind of get some fitness because he's been touch and go. And, let's wrap Tomiyasu and Partey up in cotton wool after what happened with Jesus, really. Granit Xhaka himself has said, the Premier League is waiting. And, of course, I wanted to be here longer than this. But we lost the game today, and I'm happy to be back now with the team. Of course, emotionally, it's not easy, and they got battered against Portugal 6-1. But this is part of our business, part of football. I have something to achieve there, and I know the team is in Dubai at the moment doing the pre-season. Obviously, he means mid-season. I always make that mistake. I'm flying back to Dubai, going back to the team and going back to training and trying to forget the tournament now. And that's, for Tomiyasu, he might need time to cool off. Xhaka might just deal with it with just getting on with things. So there's no right or wrong. It is what it is. And Arsenal have given all these players the option of cooling off after the World Cup. He spoke on Jesus. He said, I spoke with him straight after the Cameroon game. We have the contact between each other with all the players we have here in the World Cup. It's a shame because you saw in the first round of the Premier League how important he is for us. I don't know how big the injury is, maybe 2 or 3 months, I think, but he's a strong guy. It's a small injury for him, I think, and we will support him. He knows we are behind him, and hopefully we can get him back as quick as possible. Big up Eddie and Ketia. He said, we have no other option. We have the option with Eddie. Of course, he showed great games as well in the past, and we need to support Gabby first. We need to support Eddie as well because he'll be a big, big part of the next 2 or 3 months. But I'm looking forward because we have the quality to bring Eddie there and to help him. Fair enough, man. Big up Xhaka. Mature words from one of our capitanos. Big up Odegaard as well, who had a little knock during this off-season break, but he's all right. Again, Tomiyasu has admitted he needs some time to forget football after exiting the World Cup. So a bit different. I don't know. Hopefully, I can get a bit of rest. I need time to forget about football. I need a bit of time. He needs the time. Give him the time in it, because if you're not in any walk of life, if you're not where you need to be mentally in the right place, you can't do your job. He can't be the best teammate on and off the field. He can't be the best, defender. He can't be the best, son, grandson, granddad if he's got kids and they've got kids, father, etc., etc. The mental aspect of life is really underrated, and I think footballers as well, because it's easy. They get money, they live in a dream, they don't feel anything emotionally, and like Granit Xhaka and Tomiyasu, respectfully to all the nations, there's more. It's a bit like Son at Spurs. There's a lot more expectation on these sort of players. You look at Brazil, there's expectation on everyone. Gabriel Jesus, as well. But, you look at Gabriel Jesus, Neymar, the rest of them is kind of more evenly spread. But there's less of that sort of quality in Japan and Switzerland. So the ones that do have that, there's going to be more of that on them. So yeah, people, I think that's it. We've spoken about Milinkovic-Savic, Tammy Abraham, Gabriel Jesus and Granit Xhaka, Joao Felix, Mudryk. We covered Carlos Soler, and I'll be sure to cover any other talking points, questions, all of these things that emerge in the next whatever hours, days, weeks that follow making this vid. So with that, I think that marks the end of our, the latest news video from myself. As I said, please make sure you're hitting the like button, you're subscribing, you're turning on your notifications, you're offering your own opinions. Don't be shy. I don't bite people. And also check out my YouTube playlist, specifically my transfer/latest news playlist, where you can get more videos of your fix. Most importantly, again, appreciate all the support you lot give me and give our channel, people. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it growing. Hope everyone remains well and safe. Hope you lot all have continued good health. Once again, not for the millionth time, thank you for your support. Sorry, people. Have a blessed day and all of them things there. I'm out, man. We'll meet again soon. Peace.
There's always just that
active when defending.
I think it's like